What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again with a brand new video for Might and Magic Elemental Gardens. We just got done checking out the second AMA from Team Ubisoft here, and so we're going to be going over a couple of the highlights of that AMA session. And to help me out with that today, we have back again on the channel, Max. How are we doing, boss?
I'm doing quite fine today. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. A lot of things got answered, but a couple of things got left in question, so we're going to address it to the community here. I'm definitely excited for people to go ahead and check this out. Now, we got a short list of the definite things that I just want to throw out there right away. Some of it that they basically gave us a very strong answer. And this is, I think, the first one that was put out there is obviously really something that we're excited about. The evolution resetting of skill 1 when you evolve units out there, if we have a chance to kind of re-roll it, there's going to be an update at the end of October, and that's when they're looking to change this for the community. The next big thing is the iOS and Android device merge. People were asking about if we can, go back and forth between devices. A lot of us have played on maybe the PC version with using like Nox per se, but they have an iOS phone. They want to be able to flip-flop and vice versa. That's going to be something that's coming out in the October update as well. The timer put into the game, which right now, as you guys see, I'm doing Rat 10, trying to get some speed runs in. They are looking to implement that in the next build. So this is interesting because it doesn't say, in fact, when the next build is. If it's going to be end of October, it's going to be something quicker. I think this is going to come sooner than later. And then the other definite thing was the water necro buff. Out of all the units that people decided to put out there, the water necro buff having the shelter passive alongside the poison mail, and then I believe Max said the HP is it change?
Swap.
Yeah, HP swap for the cooldown reset. They're looking to buff that up because it's just kind of like underwhelming here, so that should be good. Now, getting into the first topic that we hit up here with Max, that they're kind of that was kind of a big concern to me. This is probably the one that hit me the most is RTA and guild wars. Are we going to have any plans for this to be incorporated? Any kind of change to PvP? And they basically said no plans this year. What's your thought about that, Max?
So I am personally not one of the people that plays for PvP, but I think RTA, even I think RTA is really, really cool content because one of the biggest reasons that I don't take PvP very seriously is because you're not playing against an actual player. You're playing against AI, and the AI isn't terribly smart, as we all know when we've tested our defense and had it derp and just like, well, that did not go how I planned.
Right.
So I was really excited to see the RTA be implemented, and I didn't think it would be like really super hard on their part to implement, but maybe that's wrong. But hopefully they'll implement that soon, even if like next year. Hopefully that'll be at the top of their content to create because of how often I see people asking for that and guild battles. Those are the top two things that people want.
Yeah, that was actually something that I put in, not this last video, but the video before that. It was taking a clip off my stream talking about the competitive aspect of a lot of players out there and being able to have some different type of style or different type of mode that we can take advantage of. Right now, we've had a lot of PvE content kind of pushed through. Obviously, there's a couple of quality of life improvements that are going to be coming around. But when it comes to newer content, I would personally like to see the PvP come in. But I think you said it actually while we were on the stream is that we give respect to Ubisoft for the fact that they're considering it, but they're not trying to rush it because, as you stated, you want it to be something unique. You want it to be something that can separate themselves from the rest of the competition. You don't want no cookie cutter example or breaking out from themselves. So I'm glad, like you said, I'm glad they're taking their time with this process. But on the flip side, I want that PvP right now. I'm just it's hard.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the next one here, the next question that we got out there was with respect to Dark Glyphs. For anybody that's new to the channel, welcome to the channel. They just recently introduced the Dark Glyphs via the new Guild Raid feature. This is supposed to be the end game glyph. Now, of course, you only can get them in the raids as of right now. So the question was to put out there, is there going to be other ways to get it? And they basically said that there could be a possibility of events or achievements that you can do to incorporate that. What's your thought on that, Max?
I think it's an absolutely great idea. I still would like for there to be some kind of non-guild related content
Hmm.
that you could get dark glyphs from. Maybe they won't do that. Maybe they'll introduce some other new means of improving your monster for like really late game players
Right.
that's not currently available. But I don't think locking dark glyphs, which is, such an important aspect of the game now, behind guild walls, is that great a thing, because I feel like new players, well, relatively new players, might not be able to find a strong guild.
Hmm.
And I don't think it's really that great an idea to have a player's progression decided by whether they can find a good guild or not.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
No, no, no. I agree. Right now, just given the fact of our community, we have started to work on. We essentially put out a schedule to say, hey, we're doing the nightmare stages. We got 24 hours to kill this boss. These are the days that we're looking at. We need to coordinate, effectively in order to do that. The majority of the community out there are not going to be able to do that. Everybody has lives, jobs. Maybe they go to school. A lot of things that they
Mhm.
have to consider if they're doing it. And as of right now, like you said, there's only real one way to get it. So if they can incorporate some other kind of way, even it is a small chance of getting it, whatever, I think it'd be really, really nice. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they do with that. So let's see. The next topic that they threw out there from the community was the creature fusion. Something where we have specific creatures that we can use fused together in order to get the optimal creature. Something, some kind of option there. So basically, it was a little bit of a vague answer. They're looking into it here. I'm glad that they didn't rush that process because there are. It's a relatively new game, right? There's a lot of things to
Mhm.
consider there, but I'm glad that they are thinking about it because we all know the concept of pulling that force. It's super hard to do. So if we can have an opportunity to get ourselves a decent unit out there, then that's it's really nice. Any thoughts on that?
I think Creature Fusion could be good. I wasn't a terribly big fan of Creature Fusion in Summoner's War. I I just found it to be extremely, extremely tedious.
Hmm.
I hope that they go about making it something that you can do passively, like that you don't have to work constantly to be able to do, like it was in Summoner's War. And because if so, I don't know that I would. They would have to make the rewards really good for me to want to do it.
Gotcha,
Like the mods would have to be amazing.
gotcha. And when it comes to some other units that they are considering, or one of the questions that I actually threw out was the current rotation of the 2-star, 3-star, 4-star units that you could obtain in the shop, right? These are certain units that you can purchase via the primal fragments, which you can obtain in TOT. We've had those. Those have been the same for since the start of the game. So my thought was, hey, maybe they can consider rotating them just to kind of give people a variety. Maybe give some possible unit to shoot for. If they save up enough fragments there. What's your thought on that?
I think it's a great. I think the shop is good. I think that they do need to, like you said, just change it every now and then. But I would actually really be interested in them. Like they already said that they plan on reworking the way that those shards work completely,
Right.
which is why that they're not changing the mons in shop. They said it's something that they could do really easily. It would just take like a couple button clicks, and you'd be good to go.
Right.
But I'd really like to see them do something similar to what Summoners War did when they implemented their new quest system, which is to like take the user through, the general starting out stuff. And then at the end, you get a bunch of the starter monsters that people are going to recommend to you. I think it'd be a great way to give people a starting 4-star. Like
Yeah. I
they could
mean,
do that.
yeah, 2-star. I mean, 2-star, 3-star, or 4-star. Really, if there's a nice unit out there that they can incorporate that's not too game breaking, it'd be nice to consider. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people struggle with when they start the game, is just not having that 4-star. And that's just a really simple way for them to be able to do it.
There you go. All right, let's take a look at another topic here. The newest aspect of the game, the guild raids. One of the things that people have been incorporating in their composition in order to essentially take these waves down is the overuse, or just regular use, however you want to say it, of cooldown reduction units here. So in the AMA today, they basically said that they're going to incorporate either, I think it's some other kind of mechanic that may not make cooldown reduction or stacking cooldown reduction units in your team very viable or just useful. Do you like that change or what?
I think it's a great idea. I think the only thing that they have to be careful about on that though is making the raid unforgivably difficult. So right now, the part of the reason people are using these strategies is because it's simply one, it almost feels like it's the only way to do it, and second, it's just the most effective way that people have found to do it. So if you're going to take away people's most effective means of completing your content, then I think you have to make sure that it doesn't become undoable. So like right now, bombers are used as one of the largest sources of damage in wave one. I think it, especially with them taking out HP scaling, this is why they have to be careful, because HP scaling is what people rely on to do damage. And that large, other than the angels, it has a cooldown on the jackals and the urchin, which is what a lot of people will be using. And if you take out the cooldown reduction, your attackers aren't going to be doing a great deal of damage. And you are guaranteed eventually to be losing monsters because of the boss's one-shot mechanic. So you don't want to make the content so difficult that people are losing their monsters every run, and then also doing like a tenth of the damage they were previously doing.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's an interesting concept, Joe. Hopefully they get something figured out sooner than later. I don't want to rush the process, but I'm excited to see change in the game. So we'll see how it goes. Another one of the things that was mentioned is the possibility of the HP scaling getting changed. I think there was talk about possibly changing something to what it was originally, damage wise, but I don't know if that all sat well with me there. What are your thoughts about that one?
I personally don't like the idea of taking HP scaling out of the game. Oh, as a side note on the HP scaling, they're thinking about taking it out of the raid specifically. Right. It will work the same in other areas of the game, but they're thinking about like in big boss content or things along that line, HP scaling won't work. Right. And if they do it that way, I think that might be fine. But it would kind of suck if they take out HP scaling, which is the only unique trait of one entire family of 4 stars. Well, 2 families of 4 stars. Well, no, the Angel Mystics have plenty of unique stuff that they do. I'm not going to get into that. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows how that.
But I really just hope that they don't end up destroying an entire family of creatures that people have gotten when they change that mechanic. I'd really like for them to think about how they want to do that,
right,
and do it in an intelligent way.
Gotcha. Cool. The next topic that we have for you guys is the LD creatures. This is actually something that got first introduced at the stream in Barcelona. Let me go ahead and rerun here because I think I'm like 0 for 3 now on this speed comp, but we're going to keep on failing because we don't really care right now. People didn't catch it, but it was actually in there. The Barcelona stream, where they actually talked about the light and dark creatures. They had them essentially in the system, ready to go, but they haven't implemented them, and they got a little bit of feedback from the community at that time that basically said, where we're currently at in the game, they didn't think that putting in the LD creatures was going to be really a great option right now, considering how strong already certain NAF wars are. That might be a little too OP to bring those in, but if they do introduce it, they're going to be extremely careful with it, because obviously, like I said before, it's just given how the strength of certain units are in the game, how do you incorporate light and dark, whatever it is, nat 3, nat 4s, or whatever, that are not overwhelming to the game already. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do here. This is one that I think you were excited about, Max, as well. Duplicate creatures. It looks like they're going to be having some kind of usefulness to it in the very near future. They did not give us an exact date, but they did say that there will be some usefulness set in play. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty hyped up. I know you're the Duke King, so.
I'm actually doing pretty good in this game on dupes.
Yeah,
In that other game, I had three dupes each of three different 5 stars. It was really unfortunate.
right.
But I am still excited to see a use for duplicates because it's always a thing in these kind of games where, it's lots of RNG and it feels really bad when you get duplicates and you can't do anything with them because you already put all the books into the other one and you can't even use them for skill ups in this game. So that's another thing that would feel bad about them. So I think that's going to be a really healthy thing. Like, I don't think it will, unless it comes along with new content,
Okay.
which I think it might based on how they've talked about it. I don't
Right.
think it'll be super game changing. I think it'll just be something that just makes the game feel better for players that end up getting dupes,
Right.
which is always good.
Right. I know Vulcan said that he would really like to see, if they are going to do like duplicate creatures for 2-star units or below, if they could if they could have like a way of using essentially the fodder as the skill ups, or we had another. I think it was Sokan in the Discord community that might have said an idea a couple weeks ago about possibly having just some kind of a lesser version of the skill up
Books,
book. Yeah, the books
yeah,
for the 2-star units. I thought that was a great idea as well.
I I think so too. One
Yeah,
hundred percent think so.
yeah, I thought that was a great idea. So shout out to Soka one time.
Yeah.
I would like to see that one as well. But yeah, we'll have to see where it goes. Now, that was pretty much the list of the stuff that they did answer. Some of the things that they didn't answer, or we didn't get a really, really strong answer to it, was about the guild bank, seeing what they are going to do to change that. The raid costs or the raid rewards, if they're ever going to be changed here in the near future. Quality of life changes when it comes to arenas, having different types of presets and whatnot. That one is something that people were asking for. We didn't get answered. And then the shortening of the stone fragments, which I think up until the very end, they had there wasn't anything said, but I think they took a note on it and they were like, yeah, we could probably take out that first animation all completely. So I think we gave that a double thumbs up on that one. We're like, whatever we could do to get the times 10 fragments, we would like to see that. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I'm excited about all of that. Definitely. I want to say, like, on the 2-star books thing, I know I'm going back a bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that 100% would make the game more approachable for new players.
Yep.
It would make it so that streamers and YouTubers can create more content. Because right now, if you're a streamer or a YouTuber, like, I know you just got that new Air Diva Childish.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you probably want to throw you some skill ups in her, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that means all your side projects of 2 stars, like the Urchin or whatever other 2 stars you've been looking into recently. Like, I recently built up the Air Rune Guard, but I can't put books into him because I need to skill up my 4 stars, and then I need to skill up all my useful 3 stars that I'm working on.
Right.
Like, it's just they're low priority, even though they'd be much more useful to the community to have information about.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to emphasize how important having something like that would be.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and I know that you initially started out with, the aspect of like kind of content for streamers or YouTubes, but I think that the second part of it, I'm really in line with that as well. It's more of a with this game being so unique, so diverse, so many cool mechanics that you can incorporate. It would be nice to have a way of getting these skill ups so we can, see the true potential. One of the units that we showcased on our stream last night, the Fire Nip, was probably one of the most one of the strongest, nat threes in the game out there, but people don't realize it until they actually skill out that second and third skill, having a 60% attack bar boost on the second skill with a 3-turn cooldown, and then the elemental advantage defense buff. Really, really nice when you can incorporate it like a team that I'm showcasing right now. That transitional unit for a speed composition. Really, really, really good. There's so many different aspects of the game that you can play around with it, but this is just one unit that I'm talking about, right? We can make an argument for a lot of other units providing as much utility or usefulness as this one, but we cannot see the true potential because we are very, very limited in the amount of books we can get,
Hmm.
which is okay to an extent. You want it to be relatively rare, but you still have half of your monsters that are 2-star below that they did create a way of saying, hey, we want this to be useful, right? For example, Water Basilisk, super strong unit when it comes to TOT.
Hmm.
Everybody uses it, or air basket. The basculus family in general, amazing units, but it does it does take quite a few skill ups. Like you said, when we are at the early stages of the game, early players, they're going to be very, very limited on those books, so they have to figure out which one's going to provide the most value. If they had that opportunity to have different types of books, then that might, like I said, that might be just that transition from early to mid game might just make things a little bit easier.
Yep, definitely. I definitely think it will. I think even with late game, like it'll make like later game players have something fun to do, like build up some 2 stars and
Hmm.
try out different crazy stuff. Like I just think it'll be good.
Yep.
There's no negatives to it, so
Nope.
why not?
Nope. That's pretty much it for my list, Max. Did you have any final thoughts or anything you wanted to share with the communities or the developers?
I'm just really happy that the devs are such an open group. Like they're willing to answer our questions and take the time out of their workday to just sit down with their community and talk about, the questions that the community has. And I know some people probably feel bad because their questions didn't get answered.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, it just like game developers don't tend to do this. Like just to say, and it was only 3 people trying to keep up with probably hundreds and hundreds of questions being posted in chat. So if you didn't get your questions gotten to this time, don't feel bad. They'll have another AMA, or you can always, if you just see them in the Discord, you can always just at the devs and see if they'll answer the question, or someone else might have the answer. Who knows?
Right.
You know.
Right.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
and again, I want to give a shout out to Ubisoft as well. I was really grateful that they did take the time to do this, and the transparency that they provided for the community, the ability to work with them, work with them, and try to come together to create a an even better game than the previous day is really, really nice, and I applaud them for that, because there's a lot of games out there that really haven't taken the time to connect with the community at that deeper level, and so I like what they're doing, and I'm looking forward to the future there. So. Once again, my man Max, thank you so much for coming on board and doing this collaboration with me. I greatly appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure.
All right, guys. So that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish and Max with Childish Plays checking out. Take care, and we will see you all in the next one. I'm out.